Hey, how is it going? I hope everything fine. We are going to talk about functional grammar and lexical functional grammar.
The functional grammar. Functionalism can refer to any of various approaches to the study of grammatical descriptions and processes that consider the purposes to which language is put and the context in which language occurs, also called functional linguistics. Christopher Butler notes that there is a strong consensus among functionalists that the linguistic system is not self-contained and so autonomous from external factors, but is shaped by them. Any examples and observations? First, language is first instrument for communications between humans. Another, language are as they are. And another, human language is a system for free expression of thought, essentially independent of stimulus control, need satisfaction, or instrumental purpose.
Two widely welcome of such theories are Chomsky's universal grammar and Holliday's systematic functional linguistic. These two theories have been initiated and developed almost independently, and each has been successful in accounting for aspects of language from a particular perspective. However, they seem to stand more in complementary position with respect to each other than in a confronting stance against one another. Halliday said that language is learned with the experience. Chomsky says that language is innate.
Formalism. The concept of formalism is a word used to refer to different learning approaches, and its principal characteristic is that this is focuses on the form, for example, the form of a language rather than its function or how people use it. So, which are the differences between both? While functionalism focuses on the meaning of language in language expressions and how they are used, for an explanation of how sentences are formed, formalism is just interested on language form, no more.
Other two prominent ones are role and reference grammar, developed by William Foley and Robert Van Balen, and systematic linguistics (SL) developed by Michael Halliday. RRG approached linguistic description by asking what communicate purpose need to be served and what grammatical devices are available to serve them, and SL is chiefly interested in examining structure or language.
Lexical-functional grammar. In linguistics, lexical-functional grammar is a model of grammar that provides a framework for examining both morphological structures and syntactic structures, also known as psychologically realistic grammar. David Carroll notes that the major significance of lexical-functional grammar is the shunting of most of the explanatory burden onto the lexicon and away for transformational rules. Examples and observations. In LFD, the structure of a sentence consists of two distinct formal objects. Most important in the F structure is the labeling of grammatical relations like subject and object. A great deal of work is done by the lexical entries. Lexical entries are responsible for dealing with many relations and process handled by different machinery in other frameworks. An example is the voice contrasts between actives and passives.
Hi, I will explain about different kinds of structures. A natural language utterance is rich in structure of different kinds. For example, some form recurring parents and morphemes, word form phrase, grammatical function emerging from morphological and phrasal structure, and finally, patterns of phrases evoke a complex meaning. In the first structure, it deals with the mental or abstract aspects of the sound in a language, which allows us to distinguish the meaning from the psychical sound that we hear and say. This is called phonetic. In the next point, the positioning grammatical morphology is intermediate. Morphology was essential in the Chomskyan generative tradition. By contrast, syntax is central and morphology is either relegated to phonology or is ignored as an independent discipline. These structures are distinct but related. Each structure contributes to and limits the structure of other types of information. Linear presence and sentence organization are related to both the morphological structure of words and the functional organization of sentence.
It is said that a statement is rich in structures of different types, for example, sound form patterns and morphemes as well as word form sentences. Grammatical functions arise from the morphological and phrasal structure. It tells us that the relationship between linear precedence and phrasal organization goes into the morphological structure as well as the functional organization of the sentences. The external and visible hierarchical organization of words in sentences and internal and more abstract hierarchical organization of grammatical functions are the way in which the two types of syntactic structure recognized by lexical-functional grammar are classified. The constituent structure is syntactically shallow, since the shallow relationships of precedence and dominance are encoded, mainly characterized by the form of theory X, which was designed to order the diversity of phrase structure that exists between languages. The functional structure focuses on grammatical relationships, are nuances of attribute values. The attributes of structure F can be grammatical functions, also non-argument functions, categories of time, aspect, mode, categories functional nominants, or the precise semantic attribute. The contents of structure F come from the lexical elements of sentences themselves or from annotations in the nodes of structure C that link pieces of structure C with parts of structure F.